Hello, this is Gerald Jovanwas. I will continue in this series to compare English as my starting point of my way of thinking, and I will compare that to Chinese characters and words, and the basis how to build up the understanding of Chinese is based upon the universal sound meanings. It's not the easiest foundation in a way, because you could say like, okay, it's indeed easier to learn these things by heart. For me, it doesn't work like that. I have to understand each character one by one, where it comes from, how it's associated in an abstract sense, in its context, and so on. So I will work like that. The sounds are a bit more difficult. The sounds, okay, I say they are universal sound meanings, but the foundations of the sounds are slightly different, so I have to get used to it. So I still make some mistakes on its way by learning it. It's because some of these foundations are different, so I have to find out the fine-tuning in how these foundations work, also in the tones. And I will come to that, and in the end, I'm sure it will go also much better for everybody. But I have already a good foundation in recognizing all the characters, and in also recognizing the foundations in the sounds. Now, the sounds are not the basis for the whole script, because the script has a logic on its own, and the sounds, yeah, they come to it as almost like a description, which makes it a bit more difficult to pinpoint the right foundations in its core. But I will build that up, and if I do for every word, it will also be remembered better for me, and I hope also for you. And it is a good opportunity not just to learn the theory of the foundations of letters and sounds, that they have references in time and space, the references of all the characters that also have a reference in time, and how the balance works there. And you also can get to learn these foundations from different viewpoints, and how they can work together, and how they match, and how they don't match, and how they don't match will be seen in the mistakes. And the mistakes, like I said, the mistakes, they mean that you have to search for the foundations if you want to work in the way I'm doing. So what is the real reason of the tones, for instance? I asked my teacher, so where do you have these tones? Is there a pattern in it? No, you have to learn it by heart. Yeah, but we have that here in the West as well. If you ask a teacher, so what are the meanings of the Roman letters? Oh, you just have to learn that by heart. They have no meanings. Of course they do. They are very. They have a good reason why they look like that. And I show that more often as well. And I will show that also in the same way for the Chinese characters, and the sounds, of course, that's based upon what I have written there. There. Oh, yeah, I see here myself in the mirror vision, and I can't. Here it is. Here are the two books about the sounds. So which words I'm going to talk about today? You had already a starting point in one. One is a starting point. We start with one thing, a thing, or the thing. And there was different emphasis in how we can start something. And the references in a language, I think it's very important to have some first of the, so when you start from sounds, what are the easily recognizable points from the sounds alone? We have languages, we have a lot, so you know already, okay, it has a basis in ah. If we hear E, in the Chinese language, it's also a trigger point. It's actually a trigger point which says, E, I have here a separate point of one where you can start from, and then it is with some measurements that you can start the one from there. And these measurements, I have them in different examples. There are 3 kinds of measurements that you can see there. And I will try to say it correctly, but I will have my help that I don't saddle you up with some mistakes. So I have Yīgè, Yīgòng, and Yīzhǐ. Is that correct? Let's see.
Yīgè, Yīgòng, Yīzhǐ.
Yīgè. You see this third tone is important there. So now what does these references of measurements mean? I will tell you in a moment. But first the number 1. Of course, I already told you that it's all the characters of the Chinese script are in this square, and this square is a periodical scale frame in which 1 is a timing as 1. That's why you have a timing is from a starting point to an ending point. That's the timing. That's 1. In our Western foundation, 1 is just counting. It's counting a measurement. It's counting a place. It's counting something at points. So it looks a bit different. But it also looks like E. And 1 in Chinese was, of course, E. And the 1, or the starting point of 1 in the Western way of thinking, that's why I make these comparisons. They are comparisons which are much deeper into the word as a general concept of how everything hangs together. E is a universal, adaptable idea that you can have, and E is then a very good starting point. We use our starting point in A. But when we start our reasoning from I, it starts from the letter E, so like a universal idea that you can use everywhere, but it's working towards it. So it is working towards to become like that. So that's but our starting point thinks that we are there already. We have the starting point in A still, so we don't say E as I. We say I, so it is a starting point in the A letter. Again, it's written as A, of course. The A is here. The A is at the point in place. That's our foundation, and it's projected via the letter A, of course, towards future outcomes, and it's with the letter Y to it. So it's A. It's projecting itself towards what we can do with it in future. So it's not immediately finding a balance like in the Chinese script and its idea and all the ideas behind it. It's not looking for that balance. It's experimenting, and it's experimenting it things in time, and if possible it can also change things as quickly as possible in time if it's not correct. But we experiment a little bit more with opinions in the way we think with I. The 1 in the Eastern language is, of course, going from one point to another point, and this from one point to another point in timing is E. 2 times E, E is E. And therefore we use a universal E. So we go as I from E to E with E as E. This E in the Chinese language is scheduled. It's a timed thing. It's already timed. I is starting from a placed thing and then projects itself towards what's going to do with it, whatever it is. E is also, in a way, adaptable. Every letter E is an adaptable idea. You can use it, the E, although 1 in a local association, in an activity, so in a timing, as where 1 is from 1 to 1, so it's that activity, or it's a general idea that finds its context. That's all together. It's also the sound E. And let's go to start from the first kind of counting with E, because you had already, in a way, a few different ideas of number 1. What is then number 1? Yīgè defines this. The symbol itself, you see here, it's already, okay, it's going to find the middle where it fits in, where the 1 can be used. Like here, it was the timing from 1 to 1, so and that's together, it's 1 timing. In the sounds, if I express the sounds, if I show you the sounds, you can see the G is then is the G as a sound. It has a meaning. It has a reference. Has this reference frame at the back, and it's actually a reference point to trying to measure and saying, which part can we notice? Which part do we really notice with G? And is the smallest measurement, and in that way, as we can note. So here it is. That's the G. That's the roof. The same symbol. It can almost express G as well. And the is the smallest part to count the number 1. And that's how you can remember it. That's how I will count. So what is the 1 here is it's not the starting part. No, in the time frame, it's from start to finish. It's the whole picture, and that can be sensed as a foundation, as the number 1. A different kind of counting is Yīgòng, and here it is expressed, and here it is also counting. It's more like counting. It's counting, and you see here the 2 times plus, and anyway, it's also 1. It hangs together, and it hangs all together. So you see the smallest part will be chosen between different things that hang together. So here I have 1 of the things that are all together. So Yīgòng, the E, here I separated again. It's Yīgòng. The E is less important. We're not really counting. We're using a subject. It's now the subject is the gong. We use it all together, all of it. In sounds, gong, I already had that expression before. It can also be recognized. So there's the G. That's my reference frame. What can I see from it? And what I see from it with the ng, it reads a little bit like all what hangs together in ng, and is used in timings. In the timings that I used, that's what is. So what can be useful now? What I can use now? That's so it all hangs together, but I use just the measurement that I can use at the moment. That's how you can understand and recognize it from the sounds, and you recognize it. You see the double plus. You can see it. You can see the distinctions underneath. You can remember the idea well, that it is about the things that all hang together. And the last kind of counting is then you have 1, which is more important. So here the 1 is counted in a different way. How? You can see it's the full frame that I have. It's what hangs together, and again the distinction that I make there. And here the distinction is the totality, the thing on its own. It's the subject of 1. Here 1 counts as 1. That's why you have here a different symbol for it, and then you know immediately if you see it. Oh yeah, it's here I have a different subject. It counts on its own. I have a starting point of its own. Here it counts as a new. I hear a new starting subject, and that will be helpful for when you hear that, then you can immediately understand it. So what did we have?
一个、一共、一之一。
If you hear that, then you know that it counts on, okay, we have a different subject from here on. Okay, I hope this was helpful already to remember the characters, to understand the characters, and how you can compare them to English as well, and compare them to the sound meanings and references, and hopefully remember them better. Books, channel, website, and so on. Thanks again. Bye.